Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're doing a Thankful 3 for Thursday, which is an amalgamation of Patty's Potato Peeler's 3 for Thursday open tag and Singing Toad's newer open tag, Thankful Thursday. So as far as the thankful portion of it, I'm gonna say I'm thankful to both of these channels for the open tag, the inspiration for today's video. But gonna single out Singing Toad a bit here because he also provided the theme for today's video, which is blacked out knives. Now he tackled that same theme last week on his Thankful 3 for Thursday, so check that out. But show both these channels some love. I'll link to them in the description of this video. You can just click on that to go to their channels. But really great content from both of them. Definitely showed them some love. Now outside of that, I will say that I'm also thankful just for this hobby of ours, EDC knives, because it's really allowed me to connect with, viewers, other YouTube channels, people all over the world. These three channels are in very different parts of the world geographically. Probably would have never crossed paths with them if it weren't for this shared interest in knives. And I think that's pretty cool. I've connected with a lot of people. Singing Toad I talk to on a couple different platforms a couple times a week, and we've exchanged stickers and have become good friends, and really thankful for that connection. It's just kind of a weird thing. We have the shared interest in knives and connecting with people all over the world over that. And so I think that's pretty cool. Now, let's get into the theme of today's video. I already mentioned blacked out knives. Now, when it comes to blacked out knives, I'm very hot and cold. I have a bunch of them that I really like. It's not something I necessarily seek out. I do like a bit of color. I think it's a little bit more interesting, but do have some blacked out knives I really like. And on the other side of the spectrum, I think when done poorly, the blacked out blades can look terrible. They look cheap, and so it really takes the right finishing and a well done finish for me to like a blacked out knife. And so with that said, wasn't sure how easy or difficult it would be to narrow this down to 3, and I did have a pretty hard time. I didn't want to cheat, so no honorable mentions. If they didn't make the cut, they're not going to be shown in this video. We'll show them in a future video, I'm sure, but did narrow it down to 3. So we'll start with number 1, which is the Benchmade Mini Adamas, and I say number 1, but these are not ranked in any order, just the first one that I'm going to show. And so really excellent knife. Mini is a bit of a misnomer here. It's not a small knife by any means. It's just mini in comparison to the regular Adamas. In fact, this is going to be the largest knife that we look at today. Now, it's not an especially large knife, but it does feel overbuilt, super thick blade stock, nice thick and wide handles, and so it feels bigger than it is. It's not an especially huge knife though, but I really love this knife from them, and not one that I probably would have picked up myself. This actually came from the very first Going Gear EDC premium box. So was subscribed to the standard box for years, and then they did the premium box. I subscribed. It happened to be the first video I ever made on YouTube, and so a little bit of a special kind of connection with this one in that it's really the first thing that I unboxed on the channel. And so really love this knife. The coating is getting close to not being a blacked out blade. I'm still going to call this blacked out, but it's a little bit of a gray blade. Don't know exactly what they call this coating, but one of my favorite coatings of really any knife in my collection. It's absolutely excellent. It hides line marks everywhere. You can barely even see when it gets tape residue or if it's dirty. It's just an overall super durable coating and really good looking in my opinion. This is a crew wear blade, but yeah, like I said, just kind of a special place to me because it was one of the first things I ever unboxed on the channel, and I really ended up liking the knife as well. And so gonna be the largest knife, but still not an especially huge knife. Now, next up is a knife that looks a decent bit smaller. This is the Arcane Design Praytheon, and Israel Design, some of my favorite designs, are always interesting, kind of sci-fi horror themed inspiration behind them, but super cool designs. This one has a couple different deployment methods. We have that thumb stud, as well as this little fuller here. There's not quite a hole that you can use to flick open, and a front flipper. Now, I've been saying for a while that I'm not great at front flippers. This one's really easy to deploy. I should probably stop saying that, to be honest. I've gotten enough of them and I've fidgeted with enough of them that I usually don't struggle with any front flippers at this point, and so I should probably stop saying that. Really nice deep pocket clip, like how it's attached at the butt of the knife. We're seeing that more and more nowadays, but do really appreciate that. And an inset liner lock on this one. They did 2 different versions, well, a bunch of variations, but a premium version and a more budget version. The budget version was still in around that $200 price price range, but I think this one was closer to $400. And so another one where I'm almost cheating on that blacked out theme. To the naked eye, this looks like a fully blacked out knife. Really, all the hardware, everything is black. The only non-black portions we get are those logos, the Arcane Design logo and that Praytheon logo on the back. But it does have this carbon fiber inlay. So we have DLC coated black titanium with a black carbon fiber inlay. Now, if you hit that with a UV light, it does have a glow in the dark feature. Now, it doesn't really glow much without a UV light, so just charging it with light, turning light off, it'll glow for a second. It's not a strong glow, but I think a really cool touch on these. In fact, when I first started carrying it, I would carry it with a light that had UV just so I could show that off when I showed it. And so, really cool knife. Love Israel's designs in general. And as you can see, when I put it next to the Mini Adamas, they're almost identical in size. The Praytheon is just a hair shorter, but not significantly so. The reason it looks so much smaller is just that slimmer blade, or slimmer handle and slimmer overall profile, I think. But pretty similar in size. Now, the last one is one I had a hard time with. Initially, I was sticking with really modern locking knives. And so I had a different one chosen. I'm not going to mention it because I already said we're not doing honorable mentions, but felt like I couldn't do a blacked out list without including my notorious EDC Kingpin. Now, this is a modern slip joint, but really the slip joint that got me into slip joints. And so it really jump-started my interest in traditional slip joints. Still love modern slip joints, which I know aren't for everyone, but also love modern slip joints, love traditional slip joints. And so this is what kickstarted that. We have black micarta, black DLC coated titanium bolster. I believe it's M390 if I remember correctly on that blade, obviously black coated as well. Just an excellent little knife. You can see the smallest of the three by far, both in terms of length and thickness. Excellent walk and talk on here, great sounds out of this. And so, really love this knife and felt like I couldn't do a blacked out list without including this one. Now, this is the only one I have. I really would like to grab the titanium at some point, but he also has a new knife coming, I don't know how soon, but eventually that's going to be a front flipper. And so definitely plan on grabbing that one as well. Obviously not a slip joint, but really love the design on this one, everything about it. I usually slip carry it and it's just a great little knife. Usually my secondary for the day. I tend to be carrying a main locking blade with a slip joint as my secondary, so this is often my secondary knife. Although sometimes I switch that up nowadays with larger slip joints. I'll carry a small locking knife in my fifth pocket as well. But really love this knife. Couldn't do a list without including it. But those are my 3 blacked out knives. Let me know what you think of my selection, but also what your favorite blacked out knives are in your collection down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, would love if you'd consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the notification button. They'll help out the channel a ton. And hope you have a great one. Take care.